pleasure to introduce our final speaker for the afternoon, our student speaker, who just across the stage a moment ago, Vikas Raj. He was raised in Princeton, New Jersey, earned his undergrad degree from the University of Pennsylvania in philosophy, politics, and everybody's favorite subject, economics, in 2004. He spent 2 years as a business analyst in the corporate strategy group at Deloitte Consulting. As recipient of the Clinton Fellowship for Service in India, he left Deloitte to begin work at Ujjivan, a Bangalore-based, urban-focused microfinance firm, whose mission is to provide financial services to the economically active poor. While at Ujjivan, he helped lead the company's Series B fundraising and set up the company's first branches in Delhi. After completing the fellowship, he joined Catalyst Microfinance Investors, a global microfinance institution and fund, where he was responsible for starting a proprietary Indian microfinance institution that now has 100,000 customers. At Columbia Business School, Vikas has done many things. As co-president of the Microlumbia Fund, where he was part of the team that dispersed the fund's very first investment, $10,000 to a microfinance institution in Uganda. He was also an active member of the Peer Advisors, the South Asian Business Association, and the Private Equity and Venture Capital Club. You might recognize him from his appearance, along with other CBS students on Squawk Box, with Becky Quick. To me, he's one of my favorite students. And he'll be starting as an M&A associate at Evercore Partners this fall. Please join me in welcome Vikas Raj.
Thank you so much for that warm introduction, Dean Hubbard, for your inspiring words today and throughout the last 2 years. Wow. This is truly amazing. I think it is every young man's dream to speak in front of his peers wearing a funny hat and a light blue dress. Before I start, I'd like to thank some very important people in the audience today. To my mom and dad, to my sister who just got engaged a couple days ago, to the rest of my family and friends who joined today. For nearly 28 years of love and support and encouragement, I cannot thank you enough, and I love you. To the Columbia Business School faculty, Deans Hubbard, Ziv, and Hannaberry, to OSA, to our professors, over the last 2 years you have gone from teachers and administrators to mentors and friends. Thank you for your brilliance and your guidance. And most importantly, on behalf of every student in the beautiful sea of blue in the middle here, I want to thank all of the family and friends who have come from around the world to attend this ceremony. Parents, ignore what you have seen on Facebook. Your children have actually been attending classes at Columbia Business School over the last 2 years. Your support is what brought us to these gates 2 years ago, and we look forward to you welcoming us with open arms when we leave these gates today. Thank you so much for being there before, during, and always. And finally, to the Columbia Business School class of 2010. I think we all need to take a second to think about what's happened here. Classes are over. Puerto Rico and disorientation have come and gone. We have received our alumni pins. I, of course, am looking forward to framing mine and putting it up in my office. Yes, school is over. And if I can make one statement, one that comes straight from the heart, it is this. I am so glad I came to Columbia Business School. I am so glad it was these 2 years, and I am so glad it was with you. These 2 crazy years, we really have been through a lot together. It's funny, when most of us got into business school in early 2008, our friends told us, what great timing. But it wasn't long after we started school that we started to question that. In fact, it was only weeks into our first semester, on September 15th, 2008, that Lehman Brothers filed for bankruptcy protection. The day before, Merrill Lynch was sold to Bank of America. And in the weeks that followed, we Columbia Business School first years, huddled only blocks away from the former headquarters of these institutions, stood in the lobby of Uris Hall, watching those two awkwardly placed center TV screens for the latest news on what appeared to be the unfolding of the global economy. We started business school when it was about as bad as it could get out there. But as Columbia's most famous alumnus Warren Buffett once said, when life gives you limes, make margaritas. Sorry, that looks like that was Jimmy Buffett, but the point remains. Over the last 2 years, while the crisis continued out there, we were given the opportunity to learn from it in real time, from our brilliant professors and from one another. We learned to rely on each other, to make the best of this difficult environment, and we leave Columbia today with the skills and the confidence to change the business world, 717 strong. Only 3 weeks before the fall of Lehman, we entered Lerner Hall to begin orientation as Columbia Business School students. That first Sunday night dinner, we tried to listen to former President Don Baxter tell us that these were going to be the best 2 years of your lives. But all we were really doing was staring at each other. We knew already that these were the strange faces of the people that would define our Columbia experience. And in the following week of orientation, those strange faces became friends we would learn to depend on, through that miracle of orientation that some of us have been so fortunate to have experienced more than once. All of us now know that it's not just block standing games and Jumandia cases that brings together a cluster. It is the realization gradually crystallizing over the course of the week that somehow the admissions department did it right. That they put together a group of people so different, but still tied together by a fundamental desire to do something better, more impactful with our lives. So as things continue to get worse out there, inside the gates of CBS, we began to depend on each other. We learned from each other. We depended on each other to get through core classes and electives, as our professors taught us the art and science of marketing, and strategy, and finance. They taught us how to negotiate above our BATNAs and really value companies. We depended on each other to get through the most difficult recruiting environment in decades, guiding each other through countless mock interviews, recruiting events, and resume reviews. Checking in on each other during summer internships. We learned from each other by learning about the amazing things we had done before school, things we did before coming from around the world to attend this historic institution. We came here to study in the same halls as business pioneers like Warren Buffett, Henry Kravis, and Jerry Speyer, to study with world-class professors in this amazing city in the heart of the global business world. And Columbia truly is a global business school. Nearly 40% of our classmates come from overseas, and an attitude of openness and multiculturalism informs every experience we have had here. I am happy to say now that some of my closest friends come from as far as Singapore and Santiago. In fact, 2 short months ago, I traveled to Brazil with citizens of Israel, China, Switzerland, Italy, Argentina, Canada, and the US.